I am Leslie from Lexi Rose Reads, and I'm here today with another Book of the Month Backlog. So for this Book of the Month vlog, I decided to pick the four most recent thrillers I got from Book of the Month and read them in the month of October. This is a very ambitious plan for me because if you've watched, it takes me months to do these Book of the Month backlogs, which is why there is a 20-some book backlog at all times almost. However, that is now under 20 because I read 4 of them in a month. So these are the 4 books I read this month. And we have The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. This was a debut for September of this year. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This was a first Taylor Adams for me. And this one came out in May on Book of the Month. Then this is actually October's pick, When I'm Dead by Hannah Morrissey. It is part of a series. It's like book 3 in the Black Harbor series. You do not need to read them in order. So like this is the only one I've read. It doesn't interfere with your story at all. You will be able to enjoy it if you have not read 1 and 2. It's like one of those, like, you know how romance series, a lot of times you don't necessarily have to read romance series in orders because like it just focuses on a different couple each one. This focuses on a different like crime each one. And lastly, we went with None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, which came out in August on Book of the Month. It was actually my first Lisa Jewell, and later in this vlog, we'll see how all those books go. Alright, I'm here with the, let's read the 4 most recent thrillers I've gotten on Book of the Month. And, it's the perfect time of year for it because, we are in spooky season here. And it is dark earlier and earlier. Despite the fact that when I'm filming this, we are in the middle of a heat wave and it is like 85 degrees. For no reason. For no reason it's 80-some degrees in October. Anyways, the first book we are going to be reading for this vlog is a buddy read. I posted a poll because for Spookopoly, I got poll pick. And so I had posted 3 of my most recent Book of the Month thrillers I had gotten. It was like, hey, help me pick one for my poll pick. And then I had a friend comment, be like, hey, I also have one of the books on your list on my October TBR. Want a buddy read it? Like, starting tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, tight, that sounds amazing. So, this book did not win the poll pick anyway. It was close, it was second, but it did not win. So we have The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. This was a September of this year option, and I did not read the synopsis. I just saw the word thriller, and I liked the cover. The cover was just vibing with me. I was like, I really like the contrast between the blue and the pink, and that's what caught my attention. I was like, this is gorgeous. So I have started it. You can see my bookmark in there. I'm a good 70-ish pages in. 75-ish. So I've read a good 75 pages already. And because I am the type of person who doesn't read synopses. Who does that? Like, why would you read a synopsis? Obviously just based off the title and the cover, and that's good enough. I'm totally a person who does that. But let me just do a little synopsis here for y'all. So, we have our main character, Sarah. She decides, what's a good idea? To buy a murder house from a well-known murder in the area 40 years ago in the 1980s in Australia. I think that's an interesting plot point. I don't find very many books set in Australia, I feel like that's a good plot point to put in here. Are they mentioning a bunch of different areas in Australia and I have to keep Googling where they are in relation to each other? Yes, but regardless. Sarah decides to buy a murder house and she convinces her husband to go along with this idea. And the previous owner killed his wife and attempted to kill his daughter. And before he went into the psychotic break episode where he did this, he also killed himself. Neighbors say he was saying he heard something in the attic. And Sarah and her husband move in and weird stuff starts happening. They put wallpaper up, it gets taken down in the middle of the night. Their pet cat is like bringing them to where the drop down for the addict is and is like meowing and like staring at it. they can hear, like Sarah can hear some stuff moving at night up in the attic. So I'm kind of getting the vibe of like a supernatural element, which again, perfect for spooky month. But I have some working theories already. So like I said, I am 75 pages in so far. If I find my phone, I do have all my thoughts written on my phone somewhere. Here it is. Because again, I am buddy reading it, so like all of my things are in Discord. I just go find the thread we're in. Okay, this is the one. So I feel like first of all, Sarah is a very unreliable narrator in general. You find out she's lying about a ton of things. Not all of her lies have been revealed, but we do know some of her lies already. And then to top it off, she's an alcoholic and she's on antidepressants. And what are you not supposed to do on antidepressants? Mix it with alcohol. And what is she doing? Mixing it with alcohol. And remember, she's a therapist. And then I had to drop this in here, in this comment. In chapter 1, like I said, not all of our lies have been revealed yet. But they drop a line that says, "We died in a truck stop bathroom when we fled Queensland." And they do not elaborate on this plot point. What happened? Why are you fleeing? And it gets brought up, like in these 75 pages, it's been brought up multiple times. So I fully expect at some point we will get to know, but we dropped it out from chapter 1. Like, why are we fleeing places? What happened? And then again, she is such an unreliable narrator. By chapter 5, it's like more of her lies start coming out, and you're just like, what the hell? It's good though. It's like a good what the hell. And then, I mentioned that the guy who killed his wife and attempted to kill his daughter, mentioned to neighbors and stuff that he would hear stuff up in his attic. And apparently he started sleeping up there. And I just had to put in there, like, why would you sleep up there if you felt like something was up there? What would possess you to want to sleep in that space? I would not, I'd be, like, barricading the attic off. Like, well, let's just nail the door shut. Let's never be able to go up there again. That would have been my reaction, not let's sleep there. What kind of reaction is that, bro? Like, let me just tell you. But that's pretty much where my thoughts have ended up. That was towards the end of chapter 6. I am now just through chapter 10, which the chapters are relatively short. So that is good for, the brain, the ADHD brain I have. But now we're getting into more of into the supernatural element. Not only are they hearing stuff upstairs, they've also had a plumber get attacked in their house by an unseen force, and the door just slammed in her husband's face. And she has that mysterious movie. I also have a working theory, and I'll just share it, because, like, at this point, I don't know if my theory is even valid. Like, there's a thought process behind it. But at this point in the book, I don't know if my theory is true, and, I guess we'll find out as the book goes along, but, like, my working theory right now is that after the husband went and killed his wife and attempted to kill his daughter, the daughter escaped and ran to a neighbor's house and, like, banged on the door and got help. But she's not been seen really since in the last 4 years. Like, the town has not seen her. There is no record of her on social media or nothing. My working theory is that Sarah is the daughter, or in some relation to the daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe it's the daughter's kid. I feel like there is some connection between the daughter that went missing and our character, Sarah. If that's her real name, at this point in the book, I'm even questioning if Sarah is even her first name. So, that's where we're sitting now. But, like, we're going to get back into it. The plan is to read this I want to finish this by, like, Saturday is the plan. So, we got to jump back into it.
Why you make so much jingly noise while I just start to hit the record? Go eat your dog food. So I have started the last word, and in typical fashion, I took off my dust jacket because, like, who doesn't do that, right? This one is going very well. I'm only like 60 pages in, okay? I just gotta get the premise going. And so this one I was really, really looking forward to. This is one I was hoping people would pick for, like, my poll pick for Spookopoli, but, like, they did not. But let me just, like, read this. After posting a negative book review, a woman living in a remote location begins to wonder if the author is a little touchy or very, very dangerous. In this pulse-pounding novel of psychological suspense and terror from the critically acclaimed author of No Exit and Hairpin Bridge. Emma Carpenter is living in isolation with her golden retriever, Leica, house sitting in an old beachfront home on the rainy Washington coast. Her only human contact with her agnomic elderly neighbor Deke and via text with the house's owner Jules. One day she reads a poorly written but gruesome horror novel by the author H.G. Cain and posts a one-star review that drags her into an online argument with none other than the author himself. Soon after, disturbing incidences start to occur at night. To Emma, this can't be a coincidence. It was strange enough for the author to bicker with her online about Eliza's review. Could he be stalking her too? As Emma digs into Cain's life and work, she learns that he has published 16 other novels, all similarly sadistic tales of stalking and murder. But who is he, and how did he find her, and what else is he capable of? Displaying his trademark command of rapid-fire pacing, unnerving atmosphere, and razor-sharp characterization, Taylor Adams once again delivers a diabolically disturbing and deadly game of cat and mouse. So I'm enjoying it so far. I would definitely say, again, like as I mentioned in the synopsis there, 1-star review, and the author starts arguing, like he demands she takes on the review. And if an author ever came at me and got mad at me for posting a 1-star review, and then explained why I didn't like the book, and then told me I had to take it down, like F you, like I'm not gonna do that. Like good for her for standing her ground, but like someone is getting inside the house, and at this point, well, I shouldn't say that. At this point, it's like, is someone getting inside the house, or is it all psychological? I am forming theories. I am forming some theories. But like I said, we're only 60 pages in. And if someone is getting into the house, why is her dog like not alerting? You feel me? Like, she has a dog. You'd feel like they'd bark. At least I would hope they'd bark. My dog barks at flies, so you know, like why wouldn't she? Like she's over there right now, like chowing down. But if I knocked, she would go ballistic. It's me per usual, not checking in till I completely finish the book. It is like a week and a half later. It did take me a little bit longer to read the last word here. And first, overall rating is a 4. So, but let me explain this. I had very mixed feelings throughout the book. So, like, we started out strong with a 4, but like when I was from the last book, I was like at a 4. And then we went to a 3, and then we went to a 2, and then we were back at a 3. Oh no, then I went to a 4, and then I went to a 3, and then I went to a 4 again. And ended up there. So there's very predictable things in this book, but there are also things I didn't predict in this book. And it's a lot of plot twists. Like usually like 2, 3 plot twists. There are more. There are a ton of plot twists in this, and it also does like every cliche horror movie thing, which is where my rating started going down because it started doing so many cliche things. And I was like, he cut the phone. He cut the phone lines so he can't go for help. He disabled the vehicles. I was like getting annoyed. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I was getting so annoyed with it. And then there's also I'm gonna put this out there in case anyone wants to read this. The dog gets poisoned, and like that's why it took me so long. I put it down for a week straight because the dog got poisoned, and I wasn't sure I could continue reading it. Because like we ain't coming for the dog like that. It's a dog. We ain't coming for that golden retriever. It's just a retriever. They're so sweet and innocent. They just want to be your friend. And you killed it. You were going to try to kill it. That being said, the dog is fine. The dog is fine. So, like, you just gotta make through the dog being poisoned. And it will be fine. And, like, the dog disappears. Like, part of it, I guess, looking at it, like,
also a criticism is that the dog is quiet during most of this. Like after she forces the dog to throw up the poison, like and she locks it in the bathroom, it's just quiet. Like there's no mention like, oh, the dog is upstairs barking. Like I don't know, I feel like my dog would be barking. Like I feel like this thing would be barking. Would you bark, Eleanor? Would you bark if I left you alone and some man was trying to murder me? I would hope you would bark. I certainly hope you would do more than what you're doing right now. Oh man. Okay. That's just where she's gonna be. But like the dog doesn't bark at all, which is kind of weird. I mean, yeah, the dog probably isn't feeling well after it vomits its guts out, but I still expect the dog to bark. My dog barks at everything. So why she's not barking at the people she hears outside? So it go back and forth. I went back and forth. I went back and forth. And then you also think like the book is like wrapping up, but there's like too many pages left, so you know something else is gonna happen. You know there's gonna be like another twist. And that last twist was kind of predictable, not gonna lie. Like it's gonna wrap up too nice. Like it was just like the last twist was very predictable. Like I said though, some of them were I wasn't expect coming. Like her troubled past, I knew she had a troubled past, but like what she was lying about, I wasn't fully expecting. And then I wasn't fully expecting the accomplice, you know. So overall, I would recommend it. So we started the next book for the vlog already. This was my poll pick for Spookopoly. So it won by a landslide. Pretty much everyone picked When I'm Dead by Hannah Morrissey. So this is the October pick for book of the month that I got. And what this one is so I found that this is actually part of a series, but what I've gathered is you don't have to read the books in the order of the series, which is good because I did not own the first two books. And I found out when I was adding it to my currently reading on Storygraph that is a series. But so what I get is it's just like all the books are set in this one town, you know? So like I don't have to like read any of it to understand what's happening. So what this one is, I'm only a chapter in, so we're only like 12 pages in, so not very far, but what I've gathered is there is a young teenage girl that has been murdered, and our main character, Rowan, has been called out as the medical examiner, and her husband, Axel, is a homicide detective, so they work together, and they go out to start the investigation on this murdered teenage girl, and their daughter was supposed to come home from her play while she was supposed to get like a ride with like a neighbor, it seems, or like a close friend. I mean, neighbors, close friends, they're probably both, right, you know? And she didn't. So they go home to check on her, and their daughter, Chloe, is gone. So that's all I've gathered so far, and that there is something in Rowan's past that's like haunting her, and it says karma is coming back to get her. So there's something obviously that went wrong in Rowan's past here, and their teenage daughter is missing, and another one has just been murdered. So, and it's already mentioned the title in the first 12 pages. You'll love me. I think what was the exact quote? You'll love me more when I'm dead. It starts out with that first of all, I guess. And it says that more than once in the first chapter. So, I'm curious to where it's going. But that's all I have so far. You know, I'm obviously not very far, and it is like 8:40, so I am for sure going to sit down and probably read this for at least an hour tonight and make some good progress. And then we will be reading one more book for this vlog, and I've been told it's a good one as well. So, here we go. Okay, we need to talk about When I'm Dead. Put that back where I had it. It's starting out interesting, so I'm still not very, very far into it. I'm on page 71, and like, I'm on like a decent chunk, but like not really that far into it, you know? It's still being like set up. We meet this character named Libby, and she is in the girls' class, the one who's been murdered and the one who's gone missing. And I don't feel like that's too much of a spoiler because it literally is in the synopsis.
So, her name is Libby, and she's in their, like, class, and she's neighbors. Like, they all live in, like, this little, like, subdivision together. And tell me why she is so damn creepy. Like, so she's in taxidermy as an elective, which is one thing, whatever, you want to taxidermy animals. But, like, in a way, I'm kind of getting Jeffrey Dahmer vibes, you know? And just this last chapter that we read from her point of view, it's, great. Just great for this. Oh my god. Oh, it's just, the more I, like, read it, like, let me just read you this sentence that was, like, really getting to me. So, she's talking about, Brussels sprouts here, and she's in her head, she thinks, soft and fleshy, biting into them feels like eyeballs exploding between her teeth. The salty aftertaste doesn't help. She's definitely hiding stuff too. Like, she's hiding more, and, like, you should really tell the police, what you're hiding. And I feel like she knows something about Chloe, who is the missing one. Or she knows something about Madison. Or both. But Madison's the one who got killed. And I feel like we're going to dive more into Libby's head. I don't know if I'm prepared for it, I finished When I'm Dead. I pretty much just, like, binge read the rest of it here today. And, I mean, like, I was roughly in, like, this range today, and I just, like, read the rest of it today. So it might be about, like, I think it was, like, 55% or something. But, I said, my last one, like, Libby was weird. She's still weird, like, don't get me wrong. The taxidermy teacher is still weird, don't get me wrong. But it all starts clicking on who the killer is. Like, and I don't think Libby was ever the killer. Not that teenage girls haven't killed other teenage girls. I mean, like, we've all seen those stories in the news. But I just, like, personally didn't feel like it was Libby. Especially knowing that Chloe was her best friend. Like, and it's very clear that, like, her only friend is Chloe. I don't think she would, like, attack Chloe. I could see the motivation for, like, attacking the other girls. But, like, Chloe is missing, so I didn't feel like Libby was involved, I feel like we definitely need to, like, address some things. I'm trying not to spoil it, but, like, we definitely need to address something she did, though, like, way. But, like, it all makes sense, and we actually do get to hear from the killer themselves. It does go into their point of view for, like, 2 or 3 chapters, which was nice. In the sense that, like, you gotta, like, see inside of their mind and, like, why did they do this? Although, I get where their motivations, like, I've heard of this, like, motivation, like, I've seen it before in stories, like, so I, like, get the motivation, but, like, also, like, there's, like, a lot of red flags that, like, apparently just weren't caught, And then you can also find, like, the foreshadowing throughout the book leading up to that point, like, if you, like, there are, like, distinct moments, like, they said this, and that was foreshadowing for who the killer was. There's definitely moments like that in here. Overall, I really enjoyed this one. This is going to be a 5-star. I don't know if we've done a 5-star yet in this vlog. Oops, wrong thing. So, the other ones we covered. So, I know last word was 4. What was... Oh, Strange Upstairs was also 5. So, I couldn't remember if I get that one or 4 or 5 at this point. My brain is broke. I half the time, I swear. Overall, we're doing great with this vlog. We got a 5, a 4, and a 5. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell is going to be our next one, so I will be starting that one tomorrow. Alright, time to dive into our last book for this vlog. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell is the next one. I have never read a Lisa Jewell book, but I did start this one. I'm about 40 or so pages in.
I don't know if the I can't remember. I'm blanking. I don't think the chapters are numbered in this one, which is something I don't particularly like, but we will deal with it. It is okay. We will deal. So I'm about 40 pages in. From what I've gathered so far is there is a famous as you know podcasters can be, and there is a woman who she's been like a housewife, stay-at-home mom for most of her life, but she does have a part-time job as a seamstress tailor, and she would like the podcaster to do a podcast on her life. And they happen to be birthday twins down to the year, same hospital, which is kind of crazy that you meet someone who's was born the same day at the same hospital. Like, I have not, and like, I was born at the hospital right over there. Have not met anyone who actually shares my birthday though. Crazy. But they share a birthday, and she's asking the podcaster to do a story about how she's going to change her life. From what I've gathered, some deaths happen. So I have not gotten to the death, so I don't know who dies yet. We have not gotten there, but I am very intrigued so far. Like I said, I'm only about 40 pages in, so I've just gotten to the part where she's asking our podcaster, Alex, to do the podcast on her, and our main character's name is Josie. And it is going back and forth between point of views. So we've already heard from Josie, we've already heard from Alex. So we are going back and forth, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So my goal is tonight to go ahead and do some more of that and hopefully get a good chunk done, because I want to finish this vlog in like the next day or so. So we just finished None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. 5 stars. I'm gonna say top 10 best books I've read in 2023. Absolutely adored this book. And adored it as in very gripping. And I read, about this much of it today alone. Like, I just had to finish it before bed here. So we've made great progress. Loved it. Very twisty, very turny. And as it says, none of this is true. So I knew going into it, like, this woman is like lying through her teeth about stuff. But I wasn't sure. So I for sure knew Josie was lying about stuff, obvious. But there was also some things where it's like, is Alex lying to herself about stuff? And I think for a part of it, yes, she was lying to herself about who Josie was as a person. But amazing. 5 stars. Very happy I read this. Very, very happy. But like, that concludes this vlog. I read 4 of them in a month, which is impressive considering how long it takes me to put these vlogs out generally. So we have finished 4 of them, and we're doing great. Like, lots of 5 stars. Like, 5 stars. 4 stars. 5 and 5. Like, we did amazing for this one. So here's hoping that the next one will also be great.